up, Charles here again with the Cypher Unlimited crew. We have our usual suspects of AD or Alpha Dean. We have Spigs18 or Anthony. And Dean, what are we doing here today?
Oh, tonight, special guest. First of all, hello, everybody out there. Been a minute since we've been around. Sorry about that. But we got our special friend, special guest, just a special camper all the way around, our buddy Eric Frank House. So, welcome to the show, man.
Well, it's been a little bit, actually. I don't think I've been here since near Christmas, actually. It's been a little while.
Yeah. So, and without further ado, I'm going to shift things over here, throw it to Anthony so he can get the ball started, throw that first pass out, hit that first ball, cross the plate. We're going to have a good time tonight. It's good to be back, everybody. I'm just happy I survived COVID, and I feel good. I know you guys probably see a little bit. I done lost about 10 pounds, but it's good. That's all good.
We have
the true diet
too as well, Al. Today we hit with Eric because Eric is going to run us through a 3-part session for TPK games called Echoes of the
Night Below.
Oh,
yeah.
I was trying to give you the lead in. And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
5
and you hope it's 3 sessions.
Yeah.
You hope it's 3 sessions. I can't promise that you're going to last.
It might be 20 minutes because Eric's going to TPK the party.
Got to live up to those names.
But the reason why we're doing this video is because, it's 5e. We Cypher Unlimited guys. And, I can't speak for Al, but I know it's been over a year since I can't speak for Dean, but it's been probably over a year since me and Al played 5e, I think.
Very much.
This was like a huge transition for us, a huge, we had to get used to the D&D mindset. So I thought it'd be a cool idea if we sat down with you and, we'll talk about Cypher System, D&D, maybe compare the two. But first, Let's talk about what you're running us through tomorrow.
Okay, so we probably should give them a little warning. We did a test run of this game as a group. Everyone made their characters. We have one more member who is Everston from Eric Frankhouse Presents, Todd Westcott. He is playing with us as well, and we were like, let's try this out before we take it live. And then I'm the art director for TPK Games, and I love the black and white art that we've got from Phil Stone. I was just like, how do we do more with this? I was like, okay, fuck it. We're streaming this. Well, I can swear here, right?
Yeah.
All right, fuck it. We're doing this. And I wanted to make sure that I did it with some people that I love and had fun with. And I knew Todd wanted to play some 5e because we've been playing Pathfinder 2. And the three of us have talked about playing a game together since we met at Gen Con. And we did some Cypher, but we haven't done anything else. And I don't think I ever ran any of you in a game.
You have not.
So it's going to get a little wild.
Yes, you have. Kaiju.
All 3 of you?
Oh, no, not all 3 of us. No, me and
Right.
Dean. Yes.
Oh, yeah, you
not
did
all
run
three.
I
it.
haven't ran all 3 of you. I've ran solo. We played some Warpaint, but I've never ran all 3 of you together. So
That is correct.
I'm excited for that. And we are doing it's a new adventure coming out that is going to be in the D&D GM's Guild, which allows us to dip into like the really old adventures and make our own versions. And then we were a big fan of Night Below. Mark Hart is an amazing writer, and he's like, I would love to do my rendition of that. And really, it's more of a what happens after everything is done in Night Below. And this takes place 50 years later. So all new maps, all new area, new villains. There are some ones that are getting brought back. So if you are familiar with the old second edition, second edition, right? Yeah, second edition for Night Below, you will be familiar with some of the monsters and creatures that are in here, or at least history of. And TPK Games is known for making very difficult modules, and we wanted to make a saga. So we're doing 3 parts. There's going to be 3 books for this. This is the first one. Our goal is to hopefully have all 3 out by the end of the year because this artist is just banging out the artwork fast. And we wanted to also pay homage to the old style. So the interior is all black and white with some splashes of color. We have some really cool cover art and some internal pieces and handouts that you get to use. And this is that thing where I was like, well, I should run this through people who haven't played 5e. That is what this experience should be, who don't play it frequently, that don't live in it anymore. And all 4 of you don't. So we're going to see how this goes. Todd's been playing Pathfinder 2 with me for the last, 2 or 3 years now. And it was 5e before that and Cypher System for years before that. So
Right.
I'm pumped. It's going to be fun. It's going to start tomorrow.
So yeah,
Yep.
you know, for me, you know, like Anthony said, it's been like a year for them. Technically, I'm gonna say it's been 5 years. I did have an experience. I know I'm saying it on camera. I won't say any names, but I had an
Didn't you used to do
experience.
AL?
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. But I actually played the Curse of Strahd with somebody, but I really don't count that because it was ultimately a horrible, ugly, painful, disgusting experience that I want to beat my head on a table about, but I won't talk about that.
I'm sitting right here.
It wasn't you, so don't feel bad.
Somebody asked if this is D&D or five. I mean, if it's D&D or Cypher. What we're playing is 5e.
It is
But
weird. We're doing this.
Yeah.
We're doing some 5e.
We definitely gonna get it. So we definitely gonna get into the difference in mindset between both of them because I think.
Oh yeah.
I got hit with a little bit of a culture shock. We created a character. It was a while for 5e, but for those of us that in chat who don't know, this is Eric Frankhouse. If you don't know who he is, you should. He's a 3-time Iron GM winner. He is a freaking awesome GM. If you don't know what the Iron GM is, it's. I'll let you describe what
it's
the
D&D Olympics.
It's
It's
worse than the D&D Olympics.
It's like the decathlon of D&D.
Here's the way I would describe it in short. It is a rock and roll show with WWE personalities trying to win a competitive storytelling competition. And you are given 3 words, 1 hour to prep. You give your players 3 words. They get 1 hour to prep. During that 1 hour, you cannot talk to each other. And then you are judged by that table on what you run. The initial system is 3.0, but you can say, hey, I want to run X. And if it's unanimous, everybody says yes, you can run that game. I have never ran 3.0. I've every time got them like I think it was last year before I threw down the Cyberpunk red box and said we're playing this. It was still in shrink wrap. And I've placed the top 3 for 13 years. I've only not placed in the top 3 once. There's a reason behind that, but we won't get into that here. It's hilarious, but not now. It's time consuming. And that's what it is. So I love it. And that's what got me into streaming, to be honest with you. I couldn't do conventions anymore. And I grew up in working in TV and radio with my mom, and I wanted to do something that was like being at conventions again. So I just started streaming full time instead. Said, fuck it, let's go. So we're going to be doing this on my channel, which I'm sure will get rebroadcasted over here as well. It'll be downloaded and passed out and all that kind of crap, like candy with razor blades in it. And we're going to do it for a tight 2-hour game. So the goal is, can you get through the module in 6 hours? If not, how far can you make it? That's the goal. Doing that for 2 reasons. One, I don't want to give away all the secrets in case other people want to play it. Like actual plays for me, I love them. This isn't an actual play. This is are you good enough to make it X distance? Because at conventions, we're going to run this for TPK games and see how far people make it. I have a feeling, in an envelope, we'll write down where I think you'll make it to. I'm going to fold it up. I'll put it in an envelope before we start. And I'm going to put that bitch over here. And then I'm going to open it. I'll mark it. I'll wax it. And I will do that. And then we'll see how far you actually make it in 6 hours.
If I was a betting man, I'm going to tell you to take the under because the 3 of us are full of bad decisions. So.
Yeah.
But I have Todd as a moral compass for all of you. The little gargoyle. He finished all of our artwork today too, which is awesome. We got custom character art for this, which is super cool. But I got a secret. In case one of these fine gentlemen's cameras stop working, we all know who it'll be. Where are you at on my screen here? This guy right here. Behind it will be Al's art.
Oh, no,
all the characters that he did.
I don't want to see that.
Which I'm super excited for.
I wish I still had it. It was on a whiteboard, and I obviously erased the whiteboard, but I have pictures of it.
He drew these like strong bad style cartoon characters for everybody. It was amazing.
They were awesome.
I love Al's art. Al's amazing cartoonist.
So we're using that for the background, and then Todd's going to be all of the character art and tokens for us on the board. But there's more. So it wouldn't be EFP Live if I didn't throw a little spice into this. So we are going to be using Stream Loot cards. Stream Loot cards are a way for the audience to interact. When I'm doing a live show, I want it to feel like there's a live studio audience. It's like theater. And to do that, there are going to be stream loop packs with like advantage and disadvantage cards for both players and GMs. I also have one where it adds extra damage to your attack, so they have a chance to help you get through this. I just don't think you will. Inspiration tokens. There's a legendary card in there that is kill any NPC that isn't a main villain. Just kill a creature, or knock it out, your choice. And then there's one in there for knowledge, like gain knowledge on something without having to make a roll. And these will allow you guys to be involved in the show as an audience and participate, which is really fun. Nice. And we have a lot of giveaways too. TPK Games gave me a ton of stuff to give away, like packs of dice all over the place. Nice. More dice. Did I mention dice? And then there is a necromancy set that's metal with acrylic in them. And my favorite piece, which is this scroll that unfolds and literally has a rolling tray and a place to store your dice and pencils in. So all this stuff will be going out as well. We're going to do 3 giveaways. And if you die in episode 2 or 1, we'll do them all that show. I don't give a shit. We'll just figure it out. So it should be pretty entertaining. I feel like I'm missing something that I wanted to say that was really smart ass, but it'll come to me.
Let me interject then and just say that I did find the link that I have posted in our Discord chat of the art I did, and I posted it in the Twitch chat. So if you want to see that amazing art, quote unquote amazing that I did,
I think it's fantastic.
I posted it in the chat.
Fantastic.
And what you guys and what the world out there doesn't know is that, in this particular adventure, I'm going to be the odd man out. I'm the only human. I'm actually rocking with the monsters this time. A Goliath, a Dragonborn, and a Gargoyle. Which is like a TPK Games thing. They got a lot of cool. I don't know if you put guys in there, but we'll talk about that too. TPK has a lot of cool characters and a lot of like class ideas and stuff like that. So these are cool aspects of TPK that I think are gonna like go over big too.
Yeah, we're doing the Gargoyle, which actually gets to fly. Like if you watch Disney's Gargoyles, it's loosely based on that in actual lore. And the Vitalic Sorcerer, which uses their own HP to cast spells. So they can like cast and cast and cast until they take a nap, possibly permanently.
Basically, he's gonna be my buddy.
Yeah, yes. And I've known TPK Games and Brian Berg for a long time. I've done work with them, and getting picked up to do art for them as an art director has been awesome. It's been so much fun to do, and I love Cypher System, and I've ran Brian from TPK Games through a few Cypher System things. He's like, I love it. I just don't know how I would produce stuff for it. I'm like, you could literally put out 5-page adventures for Cypher Unlimited, and then what happens? Cypher puts out 5-page adventures like a few years later. I was like, I fucking told you, Brian. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if Night Below can be 5 pages. And no. He did tell me there's going to be virtual tabletop assets as well for it. So all the maps will have grid and non-grid versions since everyone's playing in COVID. And Brian finally got turned on to using Roll20 even in his home sessions, because he's like, the table can have all the beer and pretzels on it, and then the TV just has the stuff that I don't want the beer and pretzels on.
And I'll say this too, guys, for those of you out there, Eric and I both played the original Night Below.
Yes.
And I'm pretty excited to see this evolution, this continuation of the original. So, I think it's gonna be a blast. Like I said, I don't know how far we're gonna make it, but it is what it is.
I can tell you that our giveaway code when we do it every time is !MDK. That is literally our giveaway code when we go to do that stuff on our channel for that reason.
It's definitely exciting.
Let's jump right in. Anthony, go ahead. What's the first question?
What's the questions?
All right, first I was gonna go in. Speaking of Cypher System and 5e, when we started designing characters, right? I want to ask, not so much Eric, but you could tell us from the GM perspective. But when we started designing characters, it's been so long since I made a 5e character. How is character creation for you guys? And how did it compare to Cypher System character creation?
So here's the thing. I have a love-hate relationship with most systems. And it's usually why I marry ideas together to make what I think is the most enjoyable experience. 5e character creation, if you know the ABCs of it, is pretty quick. If you just pick your class, pick your background, and then after you have those things together, know what race you want to use as well, and kind of stack them all together. But it's a little different. Min-maxing is a horrible term for a lot of people, but it's I think the right one. People want to make the most optimized character for 5e, but in Cypher, that is not the mentality. Well, hold on, I'm with you, Al. That is not the mentality, and I think it's because the years of D&D first edition up have trained us to optimize, while Cypher System has trained you to literally make a sentence and make an enjoyable character from that sentence. I love that, and it's a difference of culture, how you're trained to play. Neither's wrong; they're just different games. But I like putting those together, and I love that 5e added your ideals, your bonds, your flaws to give a little hint of that. And I play up to it. In my 5e games, I actually only give experience out when you play to your ideas, your bonds, your flaws, and ideals. It's the only way you level in my games. They don't know that. Shh. My players have never heard that. But I don't do the experience point tracker. I'd rather have you play to what you're doing and go that way. So making a character is not hard. It's very different, though. And I wish 5e had hyperlink PDFs, but the D&D Beyond app is actually pretty solid for doing that, or Roll20. If you own all the books, you just drag and drop, make a character, you're done. Cypher, you still got to kind of pick through. I wish the Numenera phone app that we got, they did a Cypher one. I want one so bad.
That would be amazing.
If you guys are out there listening, MCG, Cypher.
Oh, they know. I have 100% said stuff to them. I think it's somewhere in the back in the ether that we might see it.
Well, go ahead, Al. You wanted to tell them about?
Yeah, no, because mine is super simple, straightforward. Because I don't know shit about anything.
Yeah, you cheated. You cheated.
I did cheat. Yes, I basically recreated my 5e character from Anthony's our home game that we played years and years ago. Actually, it wasn't years. How many years was that ago now? Like 5, 6?
Like 5 years, 5,
yeah,
6
actually, yeah.
Years
so I guess
and years is more than 2. So yeah.
So years and years. But either way, I just I always enjoy playing paladins whenever I play a game that has paladins. So I just recreated my same old dragonborn paladin. Only difference is I randomized his ancestry. So I think the paladin in Anthony's game was I think red or blue dragon. It definitely wasn't silver.
Yeah, you're silver.
And in this game, I'm the silver dragon. Wait, what'd you say?
I think it's funny that your character has a goal, and he is so like horse with blinders on during it. He's like, "Oh, there's people." Yeah. And just walked away. I'm like, "Oh, he gonna get himself killed."
I mean, my whole thing was you again, just to hark back to like the whole character creation, like after being in Cypher System and whatnot, right? So again, the things you mentioned, the ideals, the flaws, whatnot, those are things I was kind of already familiar with, having played 5e before, but I only played 5e before having played Cypher System. D&D was like my introduction to all this, basically, but I had a weird mindset. It was more of a like I did enjoy role playing and whatnot, but having read through the books, it didn't like super duper encourage it, I guess, or maybe I just didn't read enough or something. So like after playing Cypher System, now I'm approaching the game completely differently. Like I'm playing up these ideals, these flaws, like my goals. Like it didn't like again in my head, I guess again I didn't probably read the books too well. I didn't think to like incorporate really those things into my role playing or anything.
They don't teach you that. Role playing was something that like growing up happened at the table because it was just part of the game, but they never really gave you guidelines on how to do it. And I think what happened is the indie market got larger and other companies started making games. They realized with all these new players, board game, video game, old D&D, they had to teach them how to do the stuff they did not understand. Not everyone's an actor. Not everyone knows how to role play at the table.
Third edition was actually the catalyst for it. If you go back and look at the old third edition, old third edition books, you'll see that that's where they started really giving you that information. And one of the things that I don't normally give any props to fourth edition, but fourth edition did a couple of things good. And the one thing they did do good was if you look at that Dungeon Master's Guide, it was all about encouraging role play. It was all about teaching your players how to immerse and so on and so forth. But away from that, because that really wasn't a question Anthony asked, let me answer that question.
I want to touch on that because I kind of disagree with that, but
no, the Dungeon Master's Guide. That was just my thing with the fourth edition.
No, I was going to say I think that third edition was sort of the death of role playing in D&D,
Really?
as opposed to first and second. Yeah, because I think when you have a vague system, right, it encourages you to go beyond the boundaries of what's on your character sheet. The more you put on someone's character sheet, which third edition, it's the less imagination that they have. Because people, especially new players, they tend to look at a sheet and say, this is who my character is. So the more crap you start adding on to the sheet, the less RP freedom you give in that player.
I think what's missing is a mechanic that teaches you to role play and are rewarded for doing it.
And that's what I'm saying. That's where Cypher, kind of shines. But
until you get into the fact that you hoard all your XP pool and all the other stuff. But yeah, sure.
What I was saying, let me finish.
Let Dean do his.
How was you making your character, Dean?
Making my character, you know what? Believe it or not, character creation across the board, no matter what game I play, is my favorite thing to do, because I approach character creation probably from the same mindset. I don't care about the numbers 90% of the time. I mean, I care about them, but what I'm doing when I create a character at the table is I'm conceptualizing. I'm seeing the guy, and as you know. So when I do roll the dice, to see if I got a 17 dexterity. Okay, I can see what. Now I start to see a physical form based on that. So
it's called Lego building. You know what you want to build, and then you build within the parameters of Lego.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it is. So I don't have any love loss. Hey, it's character creation, fun time. That's for me, that's like the initial gateway. And just depending on what type of game I'm playing, if it's D&D or something along those lines, where I'm going to min max, lack of a better term, I'm going to min max, and I'm going to find the fun in it. But if it's something where I'm building narratively, then man, that's where it really gets happy. Happy.
Oh,
you see, for me, since it's been a while since I did a 5e character, right? When I sat down, it's like riding a bike. Of course, you make one character, in one system. After a while, you get used to it. But the first thing I realized is that from playing Cypher System so long, is that abilities and like character concept in 5e is way more linear. Like if you want your character to be a certain way or have a certain like skill set, you actually have to work to get it. And in something like Cypher System or Fate, you could say, hey, I'm just going to flavor what abilities I have to make it fit into whatever concept I have. There's a little more work involved in 5e in getting your concept that you're looking for.
It's easier than 3.0 was, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I will say I enjoy skills in 5e a little bit more than Cypher, and the only reason is I feel Cypher. I love it, but everyone thinks they can do everything always.
You see,
having skills helps people feel special with characters.
I'm the opposite. I hate those niche skills that you get in like you have, it has to be worded a specific way. I like the broad open skills.
No, I don't mean the broad open skills. I mean that anyone can make a check with any skill at any given time. That's the part I'm talking about, and like probably succeed if they want to put effort into it. I can make an aircraft carrier in that game, and you can also make an aircraft carrier, and that makes no sense to me. Like that. That's the piece.
I think Cypher just doesn't define it as clearly as it should be when they say
not a setting.
When exactly, and that's a system thing. I don't think they define the ideology of how skills should work. Because see, the way I see skills is this. I think all players should have, a few skills that they have training, and then from there, okay, you're not trained. You're actually untrained in everything else. You should have a hindrance, on things that you don't have, any skill in. I don't, then it should just be kind of a delineation. And I got ideas about that, but that's a whole nother conversation.
I have a question for everybody here, though. And maybe if you have this later, Anthony, I won't say it, but is there any things you take from both systems and crossover? Because I have stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Because like GM intrusion and player intrusion, I put in every game I can play possible. Just like I use clocks from Blades in the Dark in every game I can possibly use them in.
I think inspiration could work in Cypher System as well.
Well, I think advantage. That's what I just look at inspiration.
I use advantage, disadvantage.
Disadvantage, disadvantage. Yeah, I see GM intrusions in that sense. I see GM intrusions as just a good way to give inspirations in D&D, you know, or give advantage. You know, okay, you got an advantage in your pocket on your next such and such roll or whatever.
Yeah,
you know.
That and races. I like races not having to be a descriptor when you're playing fantasy games and stuff, so that you feel like you are that thing plus a descriptor. So you have a human and then whatever the other ones are. I always like that idea for individuality in a game.
One of the beauties of 5e's rich history is that they have a resolution mechanic for everything that can possibly happen in a fantasy game, right?
It's a DC.
So if you grew up playing D&D, not necessarily 5e, just D&D in general, you've experienced all these different resolution mechanics you have in your memory bank. And the beauty of Cypher is that, you know, as a GM, you get to, you know, decide on the fly, like these quick niche situations. And if you play a lot of D&D, you have those resolution mechanics in your back pocket. And you could probably do it subconsciously without even knowing. Like, oh, hey, this is similar to the chase rules of D&D. Let's just do it this way and keep the game moving forward.
The game I play on Wednesday nights, we were playing Starfinder, and now we're getting ready to play 5e, and they use the experience points from Cypher in D&D 5e, but the way they do it is when you level, you don't get any feats, and you don't get any ability bonuses. Instead, you use the XP you earn to buy those things, buy NPCs, buy magical items as like a second form of out-of-game currency. And I didn't think it was going to work. And I bit my tongue afterwards because it was actually pretty phenomenal being able to get feats that normally I would have to spend a lot of extra resources to get in D&D. Instead, I'm just like, oh, I got 8 XP. I'm going to buy this 2 feats. This is perfect. It worked fantastic. And then you still got your rerolls and all that. And he just got rid of just inspiration to kind of make it like a pool that you spend.
And so you asked that question about, you know, things that you would like to cross over. And I think that's one of my biggest things to cross over to D&D. I like competency. I've never liked the 0 to hero feel for any game. And it always frustrated me that, you know, it was like, okay, I made it to 5th level. Okay, now I feel like, yeah, it's time, you know. So, you know, I do my best. You know, that's probably why Pathfinder 2 works, because you walk through the door competent. You know,
that's why you play Dark Sun, Dean. You start at 3rd level.
Yeah.
I don't mind 0 to hero so much. Like,
depends on what I'm playing.
Yeah, it doesn't really bother me much. But the one thing, like, to go back to your original question,
Vaughn, let me touch on that when we get to questions. That is a great question, and I have an answer that TPK Games is doing, but I can't talk too deeply on it.
One of the things that I feel that it's a lot easier to bring in additional rules into Cypher System because it's modularly designed, but 5e is a little different. 5e can be broken, you know. Not only 5e, a lot of other, you know, especially D20.
You let me use time stuff in Cypher System, and you tell me I didn't break the game. You let me know.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's a lot easier to break.
It's numbers. It's a number game.
To break us.
It's a number game. It's absolutely a number game. What else you got? What other questions you got before I answer Vaughn? I got a really good answer for that, but I'll wait until we get closer.
Well, you can answer Vaughn now.
Oh, okay, sweet. So, Vaughn, I 100% agree with you that inspiration point should be more than one.
Question?
Read the question.
I'm reading it right now.
No, read it out loud.
Oh, read it from there? I feel that 5e should allow for more than one inspiration point, 2 at least. I also feel that D&D should adopt that you can claim to be a certain species even if you don't get the mechanical benefit from it. The second part, that's just fluff. You can do whatever you want with that. That's like relabeling a Coca-Cola product a Pepsi with a sticker. It doesn't matter. But I do agree with the hero point, or I play Pathfinder. The inspiration point, yeah, I agree you should be able to carry more than one. I also think being able to use more than one should do something. What I can tell you is TPK Games has got something big coming out for 5e. And ours revolves around recovery dice. If, for example, the Gargoyle, the new race that Todd's character is playing, he can spend his recovery dice, which is what you use to heal, just like you do in Cypher System. You have your ability to use your D6 plus your tier to heal up your pools. Same thing when you rest, except he can use it to fly. He spends it, and it's like physical strain to fly. We have a lot more of those kind of options coming out for, I can say, a broad array of things, but I can't say what. And we're doing something very similar with Inspiration as well. So we agree, but I think D&D has done a great job of just going, here is your pencil. Now go take your book and make your own shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't put out a lot of product. That's not what they want to do. They say they're the Harley Davidson, where we put out a couple really good products and that is it. That's what they compared themselves to.
If you look at 5e, 5e is the first version of D&D that encourages house ruling, but
since first edition.
Exactly. We're first edition. You just house rule because because
there was nothing else out. Yeah.
But 5e is kind of cool because it gives you like a lot of mechanical stuff that you can tweak, flip, switch, do stuff like that. And now you got your own set of house rules, but they still work within the parameters of D&D.
Yeah.
And 100%. they're not so totally out there. It's not like going like back in the day when you would go sit down at some guy's table and if you roll a 20 and then you can roll another 20 and it's not exploding 20s, where, it's not, something that is a game changer, if you will, but it is because it makes your table unique.
There's one thing that D&D as a brand has that nobody else has, though. You can go into absolutely any convention, video game or not, or any store and find players. Period. You don't have to convert them. You don't have to teach them. You don't do shit. Now, they may play differently, but I see the LD&D ladies are here. Hey, everybody. They just got finished.
Hey, how you doing?
First of all, D&D is the only thing. It's like Coca-Cola. It's the descriptor for the entire genre. So if you say, "Hey, I play role-playing games," what is that? Like D&D.
Oh, you go into sewers and cut people's arms off. That was Monday. This time we're playing a different game.
Yeah. And so basically, anytime I try to tell new people at work or just anybody like, oh yeah, I'm into role playing games because I don't ever want to say I play D&D because that's not really what I play. They're like, what do you mean? Like, what do you? It's like D&D, and they're like, oh, and then
funny side story. We had a game night at my job, and for those that I work at a military museum, and I ran a game of Cypher System, and no one knew what the hell I was talking about. So I had to be like, "Oh, we're playing D&D," and then when it got there, it was like it's Cypher System because they wouldn't understand, otherwise.
I get you.
Most people don't.
That's funny as hell, though.
All right, so you guys brought up two things that made me think of two other questions. One is the comparison of you mentioned spells and abilities, right? Mm-hmm. Especially for Aladdin, was it an adjustment from having these linear abilities and spells to having the loose, broad-based Cypher System style of doing abilities? Okay.
I can hit you with that. Initially, that was probably the biggest problem I had shifting to Cypher. Shifting to Cypher was that paradigm shift, that mind shift, because I had so many concepts, every game, just about every game I had ever encountered, even with other narrative games, they have X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, everything is Cypher just was like, no, look, it's and
here's your ingredients.
Right. It was like
what are you building? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Exactly. So that's where my paradigm shift came from. And now that I've got it, it's kind of funny because with the paradigm shift, I can go into any other game now, but I go into it with a Cypher mindset. I start conceptualizing a character. I don't care what the mechanics say. I don't care what the linear nature of the design is, because even if it says, okay, like prime example, I'm playing a monk. So I know I got flurry of blows, but in my mind, my flurry of blows, You know, that's my twin dragon strike. You know, boom. I'm conceiving as in storytelling as opposed to looking at
you learn the one
mechanics.
core thing: to file a serial number off and relabel it. That's all. I mean, that is 50% of Cypher System.
Yes.
Is going Fireball, but is it though? And like you just relabel it. That's the name of the game. And I think first edition we still did that stuff.
Yeah.
Right,
Second edition, because there was more rules, we stopped and the culture changed. Third edition, the culture changed heavily and we were rules aligned. Like we started playing Rollmaster again. And then we saw indie games come back out and the new culture was born. But the larger culture actually wasn't D&D. It was video games. And video games,
because if you look at fourth edition,
this is the mechanics.
Look at fourth edition and you can see the super in video
Fourth
games.
edition was made to sell as an engine to people who wanted to make video games. That was the core concept for it.
Absolutely.
And now that fifth edition has come out and other things have come out, we've started to see the culture shift again back to how do we make role-playing games, not dice games.
Exactly.
And then now you get a merger between them, which is awesome. So you because sometimes I want crunch and munch. Sometimes I want riffs, even though it's punishment. Sometimes I want it.
Hey, I like riffs. You have a take on this?
Yeah, so for me, like, again, I haven't played, this will be my first time playing D&D since we've been engrossed in Cypher System and all that,
Don't worry, it'll only be 2 sessions, you're gonna die.
But again, so one thing that made character creation really easy for me was that D&D Beyond thing that you mentioned earlier, Eric. The thing that was, I guess, integrated into Roll20. You just basically, if you get a little drop down with some options, maybe some options are missing, whatever, you can look them up in a book, whatever. It made it super easy to create the character, which I really appreciated. I didn't have to look through a million books. I just had to pick a couple little drop downs. I had to maybe look up an option to see what exactly it entailed. It was very nice, very easy,
Under an hour,
straightforward. It was very nice. I mean, it helped that I had an idea in mind because I knew I was going to make a Dragonborn Paladin, but that's besides the point. But I know that even going into our little, we had a mini session, kind of like a session 0 where we did a little bit of role play, a little bit of playing.
Test run.
And even that, again, I knew we were playing D&D, quote unquote, but I wasn't even thinking about the mechanics of anything. I was just role playing. I was just doing my thing. And again, I feel like when I was playing D&D only before I had played Cypher System, I always got caught up in my mind about mechanics. Like, can I attempt this? Can I do this? Is it gonna overstep on Anthony's toes what he has planned? Like, will I fuck up his what is it? His numbers with his creatures or whatever. Like, it was always a thing in the back of my mind. Like, hey, I'm gonna mess something up if I attempt too much. But now that I've played Cypher System, I know it's just a narrative thing. Like, the GM just has to figure out what you're trying to accomplish, and then meet you halfway or whatever have you. Create the obstacle, whatever, and there's no again, I played that little session we played like I was playing Cypher System. I was just doing narrative things, and when it came time to have a dice roll, I just asked you hey, what do I roll for this? And
the answer is always a D20, maybe 2. That's
and it's very easy, and we just see what do I need to roll. I just ask, hey, I need to roll D20. What am I aiming to roll higher than? I'm not worried about the mechanics anymore. I'm more worried about role playing and having a good time.
And 5e tried to do that away too. They tried to make it so your mechanics were a flat, easy number. That was part of their. Monty, I mean, you got to remember, Monty Cook was part of the original developing team when they did D&D Next. Someone mentioned in here that you built your hero first. That's true. It's on the shelf.
Yeah, I have all the D&D Next stuff on this computer. Every last file. And it's kind of crazy if you look at the D&D Next stuff. You can see Cypher. You see Cypher System. It's totally and utterly crazy because he was really on that path already of hey, let's write a story.
Him leaving Next was the best thing that happened to all of us.
Yes, absolutely.
That we got, and him, actually, and him. He's like, you know what? Fuck everybody else.
You guys brought up a great point. Just hearing you guys discuss, playing other systems like Cypher or any of the indie games for that matter, really. Actually. And then going back to playing a game like D&D, the motherland of all games, right? You bring back those little narrative, skills and tips that you picked up by playing all these indie games that have more of a narrative aspect, and you bring it into D&D 5e. And it's like what Eric said earlier. We had that with first and second edition, but we kind of lost it somewhere along the way when all the additional rules were added in. That's why I said I had disagreed with Dean before, is because I thought, that it was more narrative when I was playing second edition than when I started playing third edition.
Well, no, and I
Age
wasn't
has a lot to
saying
do with that too.
I wasn't saying that it was more narrative. I was just saying that those books address those.
Yeah, they actually
concepts.
talked about role playing, even though people went
role playing where the earlier books didn't. We just did it.
Yeah.
And for me,
Yeah,
and
but
I think
but that was the whole point. When you make things vague, it forces you to use your imagination.
no. Don't get me wrong. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I would definitely agree with you on that. I mean, my biggest thing with like even looking at, like, you're talking about like other games like Savage Worlds. I like Savage Worlds. I think Savage Worlds is brilliant.
Savage Rifts, baby. Savage
Rifts is freaking awesome.
That's so good.
And I've been a big purveyor. I'm with the Cortex Prime stuff, and it's kind of crazy because Cortex literally is a mechanics heavy ideology, but it's built to feed the narrative. It's built to feed the story.
Marvel Heroics is a great example of that.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, with the new Cortex Prime stuff, it's even more so.
I know. Yeah. I'm excited for He-Man.
Oh God, you and me both.
I'm so gonna run some He-Man, everybody.
All right, before we go off a rabbit hole into something,
I wasn't. That was it. That's all I was saying. I'm gonna play He-Man. Run it.
Yeah.
If I would have interrupted, we would have been another 15 minutes.
Nah.
Let's talk about combat, right? Which we did. We got to play a little bit of combat in our practice session.
It's because you guys avoided it. Al's like, fuck these people. We're just walking by.
I'll avoid combat and everything.
Let that guy handle his own bullshit.
Pretty much.
But somebody did get kicked in the jaw.
It was hilarious.
Somebody got chin checked. Somebody got chin checked.
What do you guys think of the biggest difference in combat between the two? Besides the length, the time and length of
I think the time and length for combat is the same if you're using the optional rules in Cypher System and miniatures. It's the same time frame. There's no difference. Because it takes so long for people in Cypher to decide edge or effort, which powers, do the math, add, subtract, because there's so much adding and subtracting in Cypher System that I feel people get lost in the basic math. I know that sounds so bad to say, but it's fucking true. And then when your task levels are 1 to 10, but then like, wait, so 3 is a 9, but I minus 1 off. So wait, hold on. So it's a 2, so it's 6, but I have a +1 to that. So there's all these weird variables where it's not linear. It's more like a graph with a bunch of things that run side by side. And then on top of that, you're deducting from pools, and people are like, well, so does my edge take off of everything? There's just this thing that happens with the new system. And then D&D is the opposite, where you're looking up your powers. That's where your time consumption happens, is you're looking up your power. What does it do? Did I get it right? There's a worrisome part in that. So I think if you're using movements and stuff like that, it's honestly about the same amount of time. Hit point pools are essentially the same.
For me, I kind of I won't even necessarily disagree. I
flat out disagree.
Well, no, the only reason I say I'll disagree is because I'm that different DM. I'm the one, I do all the math, and I do it quick. I don't even give players a chance. If I see somebody struggling, I'll boom, 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 boom. Here you go. Or what are you trying to do? And I would just do it because.
But that's any system that a GM is competent in.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Cypher System clicks.
Except for Shadowrun, because no one's competent.
Shadowrun's a whole nother animal. We'll talk about that later.
I think
but Cypher System clicks on that level for me. D&D on the other side of the coin, I can do the same thing for the players, but there's a pride things with most D&D players that they want to do it themselves. They want.
Right. Yes, that is true.
That's why it takes longer.
That's table training, though.
On my side.
I also think that the basic steps in combat are more in D&D. Like I think
the action economy is rough.
Yeah, I agree with you, Eric, in the fact that there is a lot. I think all the math and Cypher System comes in the beginning, right? It comes in pre-attempting to strike or hit something.
There's
But
an
after
order of
that
operations in the
action-
game, for
But
sure.
after
That people
that
don't.
action is done, there is no math. There
No,
is-
because you only
it's a
get
direct-
fucking one.
Yeah,
get
but
one
it
action.
does. The damage is already calculated. There's no die rolling for damage.
But the
There's
die
no
rolling isn't what takes
flanking,
time.
no-
Doing
Yeah, the die
this
roll is
motion,
nothing.
doing this and going, I have a +4 to damage, 8 damage. That's not time consuming. It's finding everything.
Yes, it does. No, when you got
Dice
four
rolling doesn't take
people and all
time.
four
It's
people- if all 4 people are doing that, it's adding time. And here's
no
the
more
other-
than figuring out a task level.
I mean, what kind of people are you? If I'm a difficulty.
Listen,
2,
man. Listen, don't you know there's people
No,
who can't
I-
do it. Don't act like that.
I kind of have to, Anthony.
Don't
it's
act like
funny.
that.
Me and
It's a
you-
new
me and you
concept, bro.
are on the other side. It's kind of funny, but I kind of agree with Eric. Just the rolling of the dice is nothing. It's
The bonus
It's finding,
is the problem.
it's finding everything and making all the calculations.
The
With,
co-
with Cypher,
Jake's in here. Hold on here. Hold on. Jake's in here. Jake.
Okay.
Hold on, Jake's in here. Here's the problem with 5e's mechanics. This is simple. You have too many types of actions that are named different things, but no one knows the fuck they do. Bonus, move, standard. Do I get a full attack? Don't I? Pathfinder 2, you get 3 actions. I want to pick something up. That's an action. I want to open a door. That's an action. I want to move. That's an action. I want to move 3 times. Action, action, action. They fixed that part. It was bad labeling that was left over from 3.0, like swift action, free action, all that bullshit. Cyphers is people doing math. Telling you, it's adding and subtracting.
I'm just
It's like a
gonna put this
wavelength that
one-
just
I'm
does
gonna
this
put
the
the-
whole time.
I'm gonna put this one scenario out, and you're gonna tell me that they both would take
I'm probably gonna tell you to go fuck yourself, but continue.
4 characters versus 10 orcs. You're gonna tell me that the combat's gonna take the same exact time.
With what versus 10 orcs?
4 characters, whatever kind of characters, 4 rangers,
No.
4.
absolutely not. I'm not going to tell you it's going to take the same amount of time. I'm not.
So then
I'm going
what
to do
if
it.
you-
I'm going to
takes
do it.
longer?
No, I didn't say it was going to take the same amount of time, but I will say it, in Cypher System is going to go quick. It's going quick. First of all, the orcs are level 3. They got 9 hit points apiece. It's 10 orcs. You know what? But everybody's got to figure out their. Now, on the other side of the coin, when you get to D&D, those orcs are
25 hit points.
They're 25 hit points
Plus 6
apiece.
to hit.
You know, they got plus 6 to hit. They've got this. They've got
You
this.
do a
They've
D8
got this.
plus 3.
They got these weapons.
Their armor class is 15.
You know, armor class, the whole 9. So I've got to figure out as a player.
That's my whole point.
But that's not dice rolling. We just
all-
said the dice rolling
Well,
part.
I said the whole conversation started when I said Cypher Systems, the combat is going to take longer, and Eric said not necessarily. That's how we
I don't think it does. I think it takes longer. I also find a lot of analysis paralysis in both systems, especially in Cypher, where people are newer and they have a power and they're like, it's because you're trying to break that shell. They're so used to being in a box, and they get a power and they're like, wait a minute. So how did?
Hold on a
And there's
second. Hold on
this
a second.
big conversation about how do I use this power, which I love as a GM. I love seeing my players go, wait, I don't have to just shoot somebody with it?
Jason C. Just said it. Jason C. said it right in the what's the name. He
What?
said when fighters and monks and thieves get to 5th level, combat takes forever.
That is
And
true.
in CSR, tier 3 characters take the same amount of time as a tier 1 character. It's just figuring out what ability you're using.
And Infinite Construct is my whole point. Cypher
They have more
combat
hit points.
rarely goes past the 3rd round.
Oh yeah.
And in D&D, you hit the 3rd round in every combat. So you can't
That is
tell
true,
me that
you
it
do, yeah.
doesn't take longer.
All right,
No,
That's a bad thing. I'm not saying
Oh.
that at all. I'm
and
just
I
All right,
think,
buddy.
I think
Anthony, here's how this is
going
gonna work. This is gonna work. We're gonna make a set of D&D characters and monsters, and you're gonna make a set of ciphers, equal level, equal things, and we're gonna run a time simulation. Because I think you're wrong. I think it's about the same amount of time.
I mean, I would love to do that. I think that would be
Yeah, I would love to prove you
Awesome.
wrong, so I'm all in.
Here's one EXP as a player in the Cypher game. I make half the mobs go away. They're scared of my. Okay. I'm just making.
The cool thing is in Cypher that I think is my favorite is the no dice for GM, which was the hardest hurdle for me, but my favorite now. Favorite.
And that's where I think where the time constraints change. That's where the time constraints change because you as a GM don't have to do anything.
Man, that makes a big difference.
That's where you're absolutely right, Anthony. Cypher's going to win because of that. Where I think where Eric is saying, and I think me and Eric were both, I think what both Eric and I were saying was that the dice roll itself isn't a big deal.
Yeah, it's not the dice roll; it's the math.
Yeah.
It's the math.
It's how you get to that result. It's how do you get to that point to roll the dice.
Watch someone add up 5 sources of bonuses with 3 other bonuses from other people at the table. I don't care the system. It always takes the same amount of time because there's one person who goes, "I didn't write that down. Where are my bonuses coming from?" I will slap you. Fucking write it down. Here's a note card.
Exactly.
Next question.
Let's go on to the most mentioned. Al mentioned GM intrusions, right?
Yes.
So, what are some of the Cypher is has the GM has a lot of control.
You mean leniency?
lack of a better phrasing.
Could you imagine a power monster just power gaming GM playing Cypher for the first time running it and goes, "Excuse me, you did something, GM intrusion?" Every time.
I've actually lived it a couple of times.
Oh man. Do you guys have like your own rule for how often you use GM intrusions? Mine's like 1 to 2 an hour max.
Yeah. I try to give 1 per player if I can.
I do 1 per player and 1 group is usually what I do. I love group intrusions.
Well, you know what? I think that's our actual, like Anthony and Al and myself. That's kind of our rule of thumb. Is we attempt to make sure we get at least 1 per player, and I love to try to get 1 in a 4-hour session and 1 group intrusion.
And I know this is off topic, but another good thing I like about intrusions is it can get the quiet, shy person involved in the game. If they're not, being interactive, you give them an intrusion to force interaction, and you can also give the person that's trying to hog the spotlight an intrusion to get that person out of the way, so the other players can actually, be involved in actual scenes.
Do you, the 3 of you, house rule? For me, I do. You know how it's like taking experience, giving experience? Mm-hmm. I always say whoever you're giving the experience to has to be involved in the scene.
I've never done it.
I always do.
Done it, but that's actually a really good
That's a good house rule.
Yeah. I do it all the time. The only exception to that rule is if it's like a knowledge check and you're like, I still do it because if you're on the phone or something in Modern, I make you give it to someone involved in the scene because I want them to draw people in. If they're like, "Oh, I want to give this guy experience because they don't have any," well, that's great. How are you involving them? Because now it makes them learn to GM.
I usually again.
Al says something. I look like he was about to talk for.
Dude, your glasses make me laugh every time I look up.
What I was saying or gonna say was, I don't necessarily plan intrusions, or I don't have a rule of thumb or anything like that. It's whenever I find it narratively fitting, or if I want to do something cool, like the players did something that sparked an idea. I was like, oh shit, I can change the direction of this and do this.
But looking back, how often is that for you in like a 4-hour session?
Probably about what you guys are saying, about once an hour, maybe once every hour and a half, something like that. And what were we just saying? Like, I lost my train of thought about what y'all were just going back and forth about. Was
GM intrusions and me saying, yes, you get an experience. Who are you involving?
So what I like to say is not necessarily if they're in the same scene, but maybe something like, again, it's not for no reason. It's not like, hey, they don't have experience. They've been lacking out. It's more like, hey,
that's what a lot of players do though.
It's they helped me earlier with so and so. Like they'll have a reason for it. Like, hey, they gave me the tip on this before or something like that. Sure.
That's fair.
And yeah, that's about how like I would. There has to be at least a significant reason for it. And it's usually harking back to something that happened earlier in the story if they're not in the main scene happening.
Do you guys have an idea for? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to ask from the other perspective. What are some of the benefits from GMing 5e that could be used in Cypher System?
I think it's easier for GMs to run.
To 5e from a GM perspective.
Yeah, I think for a GM's perspective for 5e, I think it's easier for players to run that are used to doing things like playing video games, playing board games, playing tabletop, Dominion, things like that. I think it's easier for someone with that mindset to step into D&D if they have no one to teach them. If they have someone to teach them, Cypher System is actually really easy to learn, but you do have to have somebody who goes, everything you've known, forget it. Like you have to have somebody, not to hold your hand, but to kind of take you and be like, let me show you there's another way. Because it is a very different style of game.
I look at D&D in the through the lens of, if this person has any experience with, let's say, video games, if they have any experience with any other type of RPG, or something like Fiasco, or even like some board games and stuff like that have role play elements, I will, probably gravitate to D&D to introduce them. But if I know people have never played, because my experience with anybody who has never played an RPG, Cypher System is the easiest gateway to bring them in.
Yes, never played. Correct. Because you say it's like a movie.
Yep.
If they played games, it's hard to retrain that.
I will say that this is a point I wanted to make earlier. I forget exactly what was being discussed, but I had a home game, I should say, for Cypher System, and 2 of the 3 players had never played any role-playing game ever. This was their Cypher System was their introduction to it, and they've heard stories about D&D and whatnot, but they picked up on it like this. Like, it was super easy. They got the gist of like dropping and adding, the effort edge, all that stuff. It was like, and it is true. Like, if you have that D&D mindset, it can get in the way. And luckily, the third guy in the group, he had D&D experience, but he's also like, I guess, a creative writer. So he already had that narrative mindset already, and he fell in love with the system like right away. So I had a really awesome home group as far as like that whole not having that D&D mindset get in the way of Cypher System, which was chef's kiss.
I think a session 0 for Cypher System is very different than a session 0 for D&D, and it's re-potty training your animal. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're not going outside anymore on the sidewalk. You're now going outside on the grass. So let me teach you how this works.
I would honestly say that session 0s in more narrative games are way more necessary, because 90% of the time, if you're sitting down to play any game that is more mechanic based, people are looking at their character and they're min-maxed out, and it's like, okay, here we go, let's do it, once the characters are done.
Session 0 is building a sandbox.
You could view it the other way around too, because I think for 5e or Pathfinder, actual scene prep is a lot easier when characters' abilities aren't vague. I could look at a character sheet in 5e or Pathfinder and know exactly what their skills are really good at, exactly what their abilities do. When you play in other systems where the skills and abilities are vague and could be changed and contorted with an XP or it actually changes your prep. Like I could look at I could look, so it's a benefit from like what Dean said, mechanical systems like 5e in your prep, scene prep, as opposed to your not improv prep. I'm talking about like when you sit down to actually write out scenes in a campaign.
You make an awesome point, and I think what that kind of boils down to is this. I've got a party, they're 1st to 3rd level. I got 2 1st level characters, I got a 2nd level character, and I got a 3rd level character. Okay, and I'm getting ready to prep, the encounters for this particular adventure. Those encounters are basically laid out, because you can do that based on the fact that you've got, 6 character levels, or 7 character levels in your group. Whereas with a more narrative game, you don't know what kind of monkey somebody's going to pull out of their ass, because they can.
Like I said, let me play someone who uses time magic. It's going to be great. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's what trust me. I had such a wild experience with somebody playing time magic that he kept sending his doppelganger out to tackle people. It was just off the wall. It was completely off the chain.
Yep. So I do feel the prep for 5e and Pathfinder and mechanically based systems, not basically mechanical versus narrative. Narrative based systems are my bread and butter, because I don't fucking prep. Like I was telling Al, well, here's a real good secret for everybody. I don't run pre-written shit because it's too much work. I don't like it. I don't like reading. Do I own a bunch of adventure paths from Pathfinder? Of course. I want to support my friends that work there. I love looking at them, but I like to look at a page and go, huh, file, and use that map for something else, or a monster from somewhere else, or a concept for something else. But running somebody else's story isn't for me, because my creativeness falls under that category. I'm a hyper creative that likes to make my own stories. But for people who love reading other people's stories, those adventures are fucking gold for them, because they go, oh yeah, I got it. Were you good at tests in school?
Me?
Yeah. I wasn't. I sucked at them. I hated tests. You know why? Because I had to fucking study. You know what I didn't want to do? I didn't want to study. And pre-written adventures feel like that for me.
And see, I'm one of those weird people. I was born lucky. I've never studied a day in my life. And I was always on the
just turn your camera off. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I'm sorry. It was what it was, man.
You're like my brother. My brother's the same way.
Eric, I fall in that camp. I buy all the adventures, never run them, but I love reading them.
Yeah. They're
like
entertainment
good
for me.
to me.
They're entertainment and they're inspirations. Because I'll take stuff. I'll take,
So
look.
I do miss that from Cypher. There's not a lot of actual adventures. We have a few. I really wish we had some more of those, because the ones they've put out are gold.
Right, if they put out like
genius at that,
I mean, Priest of the Aeon, I love that book.
Dude, Jade Colossus.
Jade Colossus is awesome.
I want to run Jade Colossus, but I have a totally messed up Tolus version of how I want to run it.
And isn't that so much fun? Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Can't you wait to get your hands on that damn catacombs from Tolus?
There's a little secret. Our game we're playing, it takes place under Tolus.
Oh shit.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I love that stuff. But I am really excited to have a bunch of people play 5e, because I think, just like we've been arguing, funly discussing, you learn from any system you play, and you learn
Absolutely.
what's good and bad. And the bad is sometimes the best things to learn, because then you go, I'm never fucking doing that in my game. That shit
I mean,
is never
I
going
must
to
admit,
exist.
as a player, it was very refreshing to me to look at my sheet and know exactly what I was capable of doing. Oh, it's almost like, it's like what you said. You don't have to necessarily think so much. I'm gonna play my character. I'm gonna play my ideals, my bonds.
One step closer to beer and pretzel.
Yeah, but what the character can do mechanically is right there, and there's a certain enjoyment in that.
It's a certain enjoyment, but you know what, Anthony, you, I think more than any of us, you are so ciphered out, you don't even realize it. Because
I play every game narratively.
No, because that's what I was cracking up. I was cracking up because like when we were doing our preview video for it, and he goes, "So who are you playing, Anthony?" And you were like, "I am Sajada, the what?" I was like,
The bear killer.
he just went right into his character sentence, and it was like, I love it,
Oh,
Anthony.
he basically said a character sentence. I didn't even think of
He went right
that.
into his
Oh, these people don't
character
even know.
sentence.
So we
And I loved it.
recorded on Thursday. We recorded 2 ads a piece, a couple of other ones, and we did the big 4-minute ad we put out. There are so many bloopers that I've cut together that are just so amazing. Todd was all ready to go, and he had his Everston voice module on, and he said Eric Frankhouse presents of like blondes or something like that. He's like, what am I saying right now? So we'll put out some of the bloopers. I think I might put them at the end of each show or something like that, because they're just super fun.
Yeah.
But I think, to me, I love that we're playing 5e, because at the heart of it, Cypher System was born from D&D.
Oh, yeah.
And the fucking mastermind behind MC is a D&D player at heart. Like,
Well, I mean, if you
Tolus was played with Eric Mona and Sean K. Reynolds and the rest of that gang in D&D. So there's just
if-
something for me that's there. It's like, he likes it too. He just needed a change of pace like the rest of us. But what have we seen, everybody? We've seen MCG putting out 5e products. So there's still some love in there. Maybe it's money, but I still think it's
No, you know
the
what?
fact that they love D&D still.
it's a love, because
I don't know if Shauna does. I actually don't know if Shauna Germain plays D&D. I've never asked her that. That would be a
But
great
I'm saying
question.
we all love. We all love D&D. That was our gateway.
Except for Al. Al's never played it, really.
I have. What?
But I'm saying we all love D and D.
Pathfinder too. He played 5e and Pathfinder.
We love D&D for what D&D is, and
Worlds Beyond.
This coming back to it, especially in this manner, I am totally stoked. I'm happy about it. I cannot wait till tomorrow night. I don't know what kind of insanity is going to ensue.
Well, you guys left it off in a real shitty position, so I can't wait. We set it up. Did you guys realize that we accidentally set it up to start in a bar?
Yeah,
we did.
We accidentally set it up.
Let's ask our last question.
Okay, what you got?
We'll do Al first, and then we'll go into a tearful goodbyes. But Al first, what are you expecting from tomorrow? What are you expecting from your first 5e game in over a year?
One simple word. Fun. I'm expecting to have a good time with my friends. That's about it. Like I have nothing in my head about D&D or Cypher System or anything like that. I'm thinking about my character, my straightforward guy whose eyes on the prize.
It's gonna be great.
And I'm excited.
Did you notice
to
that
have
your
fun.
character has a piece of the plant in his mouth?
Oh, I didn't see it that closely.
The character art's got a piece of the plant in his mouth because you said you bit on it to see what it was in our last game. So he's got a piece of the plant in his mouth.
I'll go next before we go to Dean. I'm expecting to hit something hard, and actually roll damage, and maybe get double damage.
Yeah.
It's been so long since that's the one thing I miss from D&D is the ability to raise your damage up by a lucky roll.
And so crits in this game are max the first die, roll the second. So you get a real crit. Like, it feels like you hit something. You don't go boom, boom, 2 1s, and you're like, motherfucker. Is that even higher what I want to roll with 1 die?
So you just get max damage on 1 die and roll another one.
Yep,
Nice.
so it feels
I
like
like
you
that
actually do
idea.
damage.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I miss. Dean, how about you?
Man, I'm kind of with Al. I'm just looking forward to hanging out with you guys. You know what? It's been a minute since we've actually gamed together.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we've actually all get to play with Eric. I'm just looking forward to the like I said, the insanity that's going to ensue, because Anthony, you're a maniac. Al, I still am always amazed with your characterizations. I don't care.
He always
what
downplays
it
it too, which is just ridiculous.
I know, because
Stop.
Al, you're like so much fun.
I have
You
no
just-
idea.
Right.
Big
you have
shrug.
no idea, but you are like that dude. I cannot wait. And then I have started to learn that Todd is like Todd fits right in.
Just wait.
He's one of us. So
Just wait.
I'm just looking forward to like what's next. So
Todd and I have been friends for a long time. God, man. 20 years, Todd? Jake Bacon in chat's Todd, by the way. I think we're about 20 years. We lived together for a while. We played every system under the sun I could think of, good and bad. He's been on the journey of my home setting, going through 5 different systems.
20 years. 2 decades.
so Evantia,
Yeah. Athantia started in 3.0, 3.5, Pathfinder, 4E. Oh, no more. 4E, Cypher, 5E. Now it's in Pathfinder 2.
nice.
Bruh.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys have been my friends, Ant and Al. We've been boys for the last 5 years. Eric, we met you at that Gen Con, and it's been no looking back.
Yeah, I got some people drunk. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're one of the boys. So guess what? Let's do it for the boys.
I am looking forward to running a pre-written adventure that I actually got to work on. So I've worked on a lot of pre-written adventures, but I've never ran them. And this is one where I just did the art stuff. So I didn't know all the adventure until I read for the art pieces. And I finally got to make art pieces for a book, for an adventure, that made me go, these are the things that are missing. Here's what I want, along with the design team. And the fact that it's got some second edition love to it makes me pretty happy. Little nostalgia berries. But what I'm excited for is for everyone else to see you all die the second episode, because I don't think you'll make it to the third.
What's the project name again, and when's it going to be released?
So the book is out now. You can buy it in the GM's Guild right now. Echoes of the Night Below. Actually, do I have?
Yeah, we have a link handy. Throw it in the chat.
I do have a link handy. I have the webpage for TPK Games. It goes to the night below. It released last Friday. It is getting an update again right away because we had some cool new stuff come to us, and we have to add it. So it's going to get a free update, which is super cool. There are a ton. You can see the layouts, so the pages on there, the monster stat blocks. I love. The art is done by Phil Stone. Wow. Yeah, that's right, Phil Stone. The cartography is by Danny Grimes. He also did layout for this book. And he added some new 5e stat blocks. If you're a 5e head, the new stat blocks are super hot. And I can't wait to see where this ends. Because if you've played Night Below, you're dealing with an aboleth.
Oh.
And I don't know where that's going to go in this one. Because it assumes, I guess, that you killed the aboleth in the previous one 50 years ago. But I just got some of the new second book art already. I can tell you there's 2 bugbears that are my favorite piece of black and white art since like Steve Prescott doing Werewolf.
Nice.
And then there
That's
is
a
an
hell of a
Illithid.
compliment.
Yeah, I love Steve Prescott.
Prescott was great. Yeah.
I does magic cards. And there's an Illithid or a Mind Flare or whatever you want to call them for legality reasons that is in the second book coming out. That is the creepiest looking motherfucker I've ever seen. Take a plague doctor and a Illithid and put them together. And somehow this artist nailed it. I don't know how he did it, so I'm super pumped. So yeah, I can't wait to play. We start tomorrow night. I should probably give that info, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna be, if you click my name, follow Eric Frankhouse Presents. We're gonna be doing it on
I got
Thursday
your
night.
links too.
9 p.m. CST, 10 p.m. Eastern. You can figure it out if you're West Coast. And then we're going to start at 9. We're going to go 9 to 10, 10 to 11. And then we're going to do a 30-minute after hours where we just chill and like decompress after the game and shoot the shit and get your coffee, get your drink ready. I'll give out free stream loot cards for the beginning of the show when you show up so you can interact with the show. Some of them are multiple fragments. So you need like 2 for an inspiration. Sometimes you need 1 for something. You can buy packs as well to help support what we're doing. And then we'll be doing all the giveaways. And everyone, I believe, everyone who wins a dice set is also going to get a free copy of the PDF. So
you see that? So you guys got to show up and get your free copy of the PDF.
So here's the thing. I'm not telling you when I'm doing the drawing during the show.
This is going to happen.
It might be after hours. It might be right at the beginning. It might be at the end. I'm not going to tell you.
Guys, so in other words, show up so we can show out.
Yeah,
Well,
so
we're gonna
I like
show
to keep
out
them short. I
regardless.
love 2-hour tight games because to me that's just like a great. Everyone watches 2 episodes of an hour-long TV show. No one watches 1.
True.
And if you fall asleep during the second hour, don't worry. I promise I'll scream at like the hour and 45-minute mark to wake you up. It'll be good.
Real quick question
Can I
for you,
do
Eric.
the screaming though? That's my
I
question.
don't give a shit. Yeah, absolutely. Al, I got a question for Al when you're done. Go ahead.
Real quick, basically is so if this is a big hit, do we get to come back and play the next 2 adventures?
Ooh, I will talk to Brian. I would like to ramp it up. I have something I want to do for the second and third one. Conventions are coming back.
Yeah, I'm not going in anywhere this year. I'm sorry.
But let me finish what I'm saying. Conventions are coming back. And next year, I would love to do New York City Comic-Con because I have friends that run that. And I would love to do a live show at New York City Comic-Con.
I won't be there, sad face.
Bitch, I will fly you out. Don't worry about it.
Like I said, next year I'm down, but this year I'm even though I've had COVID and I thought I was gonna die,
You still might. It's not done yet.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh boy, guys.
I got a question for Al. I got 2 questions for Al. 2 questions. They're really short. 1, you're a Pokemon fan, right?
Yeah, no way.
Why the fuck isn't there Pokemon on the wall behind you?
They're on the wall over there.
That's not what I asked you. Why aren't they on the wall behind you?
Because they're
instead
on the
of just
wall over
wires?
there.
2, what
These
is
are
the
lights.
wire behind your head? I always want to ask.
They're lights. They have a battery pack. Oh jeez. Oh, excuse me. They have to be plugged USB, and I don't have the battery pack near me to do it.
Always wondered what that is. I'm like, is that a hole? Did Al actually get mad once in his life, and that's like tape holding the drywall back in place?
You know what it looked like to me because I have kids? It looked like clear slime. And I have kids
I
that
couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, you're obsessed with that, and I had someone like I don't know if y'all can see it on stream, but there's like a little hole here. I had someone on my personal stream obsessed with this little hole.
So-
They're like, what is that?
Todd said that's his Halo.
Yes.
That actually
I
was
have
the
a gift
idea. Yes,
I have
Halo.
a gift for the three of you.
Oh,
I have an in-game gift, and I might have an out-of-game gift at the end of the series. If you make it all 3 episodes, I will definitely have an out-of-game gift for you. If you don't, go fuck yourself.
Oh, I'm gonna throw these 2 guys under the bus so I can make it.
The in-game gift is this. Are you ready? Ready. Your weapon that you have is a +1
oh,
for the Goliath specifically. So write this down.
Oh, that's
you have
you.
a +1 because I'm not going to say it again after this. I guess it's recorded.
I'll put it on my roll 20.
You have a +1 weapon that can never be lost.
what?
It
That's
just
for the
can't be
Goliath.
lost. I'm not gonna. Yep, that's the Goliath.
That's
I'm giving you a
good, 'cause I
little.
lose shit all the time.
That sounds
Giving
like
you
a
a little
that sounds
cipher
like a challenge.
I'm giving you a little cipher love.
That's good.
Dean, once per day, you can do a 1-inch punch.
Yeah. Are you
The 1-inch
serious?
punch
I don't know right now,
is
but
going to have a DC for it. If they fail, they get flung 20 feet.
Oh, I'm gonna love that.
Oh, sorry, baby.
Al, you have the ability to take this new plant in the area and make potions
Nice.
for any attribute that you want. It gives you a +2 to that attribute.
How long does it last?
The day.
All right.
I don't give a fuck.
About time. You got
Is it only
Any
work
attribute.
on
He
him?
can make one for strength. He can make one for con. He can make one for what? As long as he has the materials from this new alien plant, he can make this.
All right. Just
Does it only work on him, or does it work on
Nope.
anybody he gives it to?
Anybody.
it's a potion. I could give it to anybody.
Anyone.
But either
It's a
way,
potion.
just real quick before we close out this video here, how
Doesn't give
many?
Todd something though. You can't forget about Todd.
Well, Todd's not on the show. I'm going to give Todd his separately. Todd, I'll give you yours. You're here. You want yours too, Todd?
Well,
Todd, you can do a flyby attack.
Oh.
Nice.
Flyby attack. You don't need the feet. You can just do it. No attacks opportunity.
How
Can
many
I throw
potions
Todd
worth?
and have him deal extra damage?
How many potions worth did you steal from that
Yeah,
crate? Is
that
that
I
what
have
you're
in
going to
my-
ask me?
yeah, in my
2.
pouch.
You have 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two
You have 2.
worth right now. Okay.
I knew you were going to ask that. I already wrote it down. And by wrote it down, I made it up.
All right. Cool.
So those are your bonuses for starting the show. I figured you're going to need it. There's only 4 of you. I can tell you that just the inn alone that you're walking into, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
That is kind of crazy that we set it up that the show is going to start at.
I know. So do you guys do your rapid fire questions still at the end? Are we doing that?
Nah. I mean, yeah.
What?
We got no,
Man, fuck, that's why I came.
Show notes.
We didn't have notes for this one.
rapid fire.
All right, rapid fire. All right,
got
we'll
it.
do a mini rapid fire. Each of us has 2 questions off the top of the dome to Eric right now. Just whatever you can come up with, real quick. All right, I'll start it off. Eric, pancakes
I'll
or
answer in under
waffles?
5 words.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles. Syrup, bitch.
All right, so what next? Anthony.
Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris?
Bruce Lee. Chuck Norris is dead to me.
All right, go ahead, Dean.
Would you rather have monkeys steal your wallet or monkeys fillet steal you?
What the kind of question is that?
I mean, obviously the second one, I walk away with something fun. AIDS, herpes, a good time. Who knows?
Bruh. All
Okay,
right,
I'll
my
do
next
both.
one. Pokemon or Digimon?
Digimon. Fuck Pokemon.
G.I. Joe,
Better monsters. What's
G.I.
that?
Joe or Transformers?
G.I. Joe. 100%.
All right, and last question, Dean.
Marvel or DC?
Neither. Image.
Sweet.
I respect that answer.
Me too.
Oh yeah, so
And
yeah, there
Savage
we go.
Dragon, my favorite comic of all time.
Savage Dragon was a great comic book.
Only man to do all the art, coloring, and writing for like 400 issues or something.
But you know, if you were
Who's that,
talking
John
about
Byrne?
Eric Larson.
Eric Larson,
Oh,
if we're talking about Image though, my planetary.
Anthony still gets a second question.
No,
planetary and
he had
authority.
2 questions.
Oh, was it?
I'm still shocked about the monkey fellatio.
Yeah, let's not even.
I don't know where the
Anthony,
came from.
the
Would you rather
spiel.
get raped by a monkey?
Bro.
No, he said, would you rather have your wallet stolen? I thought he was going with Munchie. So Todd has a martial art move called, and I quote, monkey steals a peach.
Yes, I know all about that maneuver.
And I was like, is he going martial art moves here?
That's what we do. Please follow Cypher Unlimited on all the social media groups. Join our Discord server. We have the largest fan-run Discord server dedicated to all things Monica Games. We got close to 4,000 members. Please join this games being run daily. Or visit our online store and pick up this cool Cypher Unlimited merch. Like I'm wearing here, and like Dean got on. Oh, we'll take care of that real quickly. Yeah, go to our online store. Or give us a like, share, and follow on our YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs there. We're getting close. So please join that channel. Or give us a follow here, subscribe here on Twitch. We really appreciate it. Am I missing anything? Or join our Facebook group. You know, we try to promote that as well. There's chats being discussed on Monica Game stuff and Cypher System products there all the time. Have I got everything? I've still got monkey fellatio in my brain.
If you enjoy us coffee, we have one of those. Be sure to drop us a little donation. It helps with things like Zoom costs, and it really just generally helps us out. And Eric, anything from you?
Yes. Click this name. It's right next to what I put in chat. Follow us over on Twitch. It's Eric Frankhouse, and Eric Frankhouse presents everywhere. I do a lot of shows between my channel and Norse Foundry. My shows Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Norse Foundry, Monday, and Wednesday. You can see I'm on somewhere 5 days a week. I do fun stuff like this. And if you're looking for tips on how to GM, my GM podcast is still out there. I have a bunch of stuff archived coming out soon, but I'm waiting for something special, and I haven't been around to release anything. We'll talk about that a different time. I can't wait to see everybody tomorrow night. Join us for all the giveaways. We'll see you at 9 p.m. CST and Echoes of the Night Below, where I kill all these motherfuckers by episode 2.
Yeah, literally the hardest working man in online TTRPGs.
Yeah, and Eric's an awesome guy. Check out him out on all his social medias. But I just want to apologize to Todd in advance for the pain and torture that you're going to go through for playing with us.
Todd played with a guy named Paul for many years. You guys are nothing. It'll be fine.
Oh, boy. But yeah,
you can handle it.
This has been great, guys. Thank you, Eric, for coming on, discussing D&D with us, having this wonderful discussion of all the things we did talk about.
It's more like system abuse, but yeah.
Thank you, guys, for stopping by to watch. It's been a pleasure as usual. We'll have this on YouTube tomorrow for anyone who you want to show someone who wasn't able to check it out. You'll be able to do that. We'll have appropriate links in the description down below to Eric's stuff as well as our stuff. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It's like hanging out with family at Thanksgiving, but I don't get to eat. Just, drink.
And Dean, any last words? And Anthony, any last words?
Just
see everybody tomorrow.
Yep. See you
you guys
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Have a good time.
Wear your fucking
Eric.
mask.
Follow
Right,
Eric.
that
Love
too.
the guy. And he's not going to fucking kill us in the first 30 minutes. I guarantee you that. Maybe the first 35, but not the first 30.
Hope you have resurrection in your back pocket.
And with that, thank you, everyone. And from us at the CU, we will see you later.
See you guys.